Evil is adaptive. I say this not to scare you, but for you to be on high alert at all times during this time when demon activity seems to be pretty high. Um, you need to know that without the Holy Spirit, humans are no match for these invisible and powerful evil entities. They can literally walk right in and operate them like vehicles. So I say that evil is adaptive so that you are always on high alert and always vigilant concerning the company you keep, the information you tell people, and whether guards down. So always be on high alert. Now, on to the topic of how and why evil is very adaptive. And when I say evil, I don't mean some kind of nebulous, abstract force. I'm talking about actual thinking, conscious, evil beings who are able to correctly identify their environment and alter their behavior in order to get the outcome that they desire. Think of a human being. If a human being is trying to get something, that human can alter their behavior in some cases in order to adapt to the environment in order to bring about the outcome that they want to bring about. Demonic entities are the same. They can study you and alter their behavior in other beings in order to bring about an emotion or a result in your life that they want to bring about. Now, as a target, I'm a target because I choose Christ. If you choose Christ, you become a target. And while I do have the Holy Spirit, I am still, even Christ was tempted. You know, he was tempted in the wilderness. The devil left him for a while, but then he came back in the form of using Peter, one of his disciples who loved him and who followed him. Evil entities were even able to subtly, and evil entities were able to subtly even act through a disciple, through Peter, in order to get Christ off track. So that in itself should show you the subtlety and the adaptability of evil entities to even act within those closest to you. And that's why, it is said in the Bible that your enemies will be in your own household. Christ came to divide, he doesn't like lukewarmness, like you're either with him or you're on the other side. Because if you don't have the Holy Spirit, like I said, these evil entities can walk into you. Now, evil is adaptive in the sense, like I said, it observes you and it alters its behavior. But let's give some other examples, some modern day examples. I had a friend in high school, and I call her a friend because, we hang out together. She was pretty quiet. She didn't really challenge me that much. We were just, how high school friends are. Your interaction is based on proximity. You go to the same school, you meet someone, they don't, turn you off with anything obvious. So you find someone that you can hang out with. Now, this was my high school friend. Pretty quiet, pretty introverted, it seemed. I would go to her house sometimes. We seemed like good friends. But after high school, she would invite me over and we would talk, and it would seem as though she was insulting me, but in a subtle way, like kind of like getting the better of me in conversations in a subtle way. I won't go into detail about that because that doesn't, you could look at that and say, well, that's your perspective. She could have just been, talking casually and you took it the wrong way. Now, there was a guy in high school who I allowed to borrow a necklace because I was in high school. I was a high school student. I was stupid. I was naive. I let him borrow a gold necklace and he never returned it. He stole it. I was maybe, 14, 15, something like that. Now, when she invited me over to her house, I was in my mid 20s. So 9 years had gone by, 9, 10 years, something like that. And she brought up the fact that this same guy had told her, I guess bragging to her, that he had stolen the gold necklace that I allowed him to borrow, but he stole and he never returned it. And I asked him for it. He never gave it back when I was, a high school student, maybe 14, 15 years old. She let me know, this friend, 9 years later, let me know that he had bragged to her that he had stolen the necklace and she had bailed him out of jail, you know. And apparently they were like buddies. She said, "Oh, I bailed him out of jail. I bought him something to eat." Like they're like chum chum buddies. But it's like he had told her that he had stolen a gold necklace from me, but we're supposed to be friends. Me and this girl have been friends. And so it's almost like she's taunting me because there's no solution. She was not saying, "Oh, well, when he told me that, I told him he should give you that necklace back, and that was wrong, and I didn't want anything to do with him." She just brought it up casually that he had told her that he had stolen this necklace. She in turn bailed him out of jail, bought him food, kind of like cared for him after he had gotten out of jail. And I'm like, why are you telling me this? We're supposed to be friends. In high school, also, I had given her a tape to borrow. This is in high school. I had given her a tape to borrow because we were in like this singing group. You know how high schoolers are. You have big plans, think you're going to start a singing group. I allow her to borrow this tape. And she told me that her brother had taken it and wouldn't give it back. So that was also something in high school where I gave her a tape. She said that her brother had it, but he didn't give it back. So these are two instances where something was taken from me and my friend acted passively, did nothing about it. But this was my friend, okay? And in terms of the adaptability of evil, evil will work within those closest to you to taunt you. At the time when I met her, when I was, over 10 years ago was the last time I saw her. But when I met her and, she seemed to be taunting me, I was at my worst. I was obese, heavily demonically possessed. And she kind of like, it almost seemed like she was taunting me because I was in my worst state. So in that sense, evil will adapt and work within those closest to you to maintain the facade of a friendship, because of course I wouldn't have gone over there if I knew this is my mortal enemy. Like I wouldn't, when she called me to say let's hang out, I would have said no. I would have avoided her. But evil is able to adapt to your needs at that point in time. In high school, the needs were, pretty simple. You just want someone to hang out with. So evil can put someone there for you to hang out with. And as long as they don't say too much, they seem pleasant, you'll continue to hang out with them. But that is a mask that evil has adapted, mirroring your desires and your needs at that time in order to get this person close enough to you in order to subtly destroy you. And like I said, in the case of this girl, it was through taunting, ha, you got stolen, someone stole something from you and you didn't get it back. Or ha, you're overweight. Or ha, I have more than you at this point. But in high school, you had more than me, but now look at me now, like evil uses these people that are adapted to your desires at that point in time in order to subtly work through them to destroy your sense of self, your confidence, and damage your spirit. So that's one way. Another thing that evil does is, if you are a Christian like me, I'm a Christian. Evil knows, because like I said, evil observes you. Evil knows that if it works through an atheist, it won't work. I don't have communication with people who don't believe in God. So evil knows that it has to work through either someone who believes. And see, it works best when the vessel that evil chooses to work through, it works best when that person actually believes that they are the title that they've given themselves. So if evil beings want to fool a Christian, they need to work through a person who actually believes they're a Christian. But they're not living, of course, they're not going to be living the Christian life, or else they wouldn't be able to be breached. Their boundaries wouldn't be able to be breached. But because they're not living the Christian life, and they don't have the Holy Spirit, and like they're going to church on Sunday, but they're watching and doing all kind of filth all during the week, but they still believe they're a Christian because they were raised to believe they're a Christian. Well, evil forces can work through them without their knowledge. So with me, and this actually happened recently, evil spirits worked through someone that I'd known a long time ago who like miraculously just re-entered my life. Like I was literally walking on a sidewalk, and this person who I have not seen this person in about 8 years. Has it been 8 years? Between 8 and 9 years, I have not seen this person. They drove up to me. I was walking because I was, getting my car fixed. And so I was walking on the sidewalk. They literally drove up to me and started a conversation with me. This person was a Christian. They were working in the church. And I'm like, great. I have another Christian friend. They seem to know the Bible. They're in seminary school. I'm like, great. So we get into these long discussions. And as I said in my last video, the video I did right before this, when someone just miraculously re-enters your life, it's easy to know whether or not they've changed by their conversation. So you let them talk, and they will demonstrate whether or not they're a changed person. This person, their narrative was that they were always a victim. They're the victim of their wife. They're the victim of, well, most of the victim of their wife, But anyway, they, as we got further in the conversation, they were telling me about their idols. And when I say idols, I want to clarify what I mean by that. Idols can be people, and I'm talking about the idols that are people. And they had idols such as Eddie Long, Prince, the music artist Prince, and who else? There's also another one. They said that it was okay for them to have Freemasons in the church, telling me that Prince's song When Doves Cry was about grieving the Holy Spirit. And this is someone who works and teaches people within the church, okay? This person was defending Eddie Long. And it seemed to be not, this seemed to be a person who was either trying to deceive me or had deceived themselves into thinking that they were an actual Christian, regardless of the fact that they seemed to be in both worlds. Like they had their materialistic world, and then they had their church role on Sunday, to where that was their job. It seemed like church is a profession, but outside of church, they listen to secular music and want to be, competing with the, want to be, in alignment with the secular world. But I mean, during the first conversation, before the dust settled, before I had time to really assess that first conversation that lasted for hours, I was all into. I'm like, great, I've met another Christian. Their job is teaching at a church. I haven't seen them in a long time. This is someone who I know because they went to my high school, and this will be great. But the adaptability of evil is to bring people in your life that will make you feel comfortable for whatever reason, be it familiarity in terms of, I knew this person, I've known this person a long time, or faith, like they're the same faith assignment that I have. And then they'll use that person in order to subtly try to change your mind about evil, to make evil seem okay. In the case of the girl from high school, of course, that was used in order to like taunt me and destroy me, like psychologically destroy my confidence, and make me feel like nothing, but subtly. But with this person, it seemed like he was trying to muddle my mind and give me false information to make, Eddie Long and Prince the artist seem like these great Christian people, when it's clear that they're not. But in talking to him, someone who, I was familiar with, he's the same faith, in that conversation, I started to say, you know what? Maybe Prince did have the Holy Spirit. Maybe Eddie Long didn't do what they said he did. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that adaptability they use that person in order to try to get me off track and to believe lies, and then hopefully to repeat those lies to others so that others would believe lies, and it would destroy my credibility and also confuse other people. So those are instances in which evil has adapted to your current situation or your current mindset in order to bring things to you that you think you need or that you will be comfortable interacting with in order to manipulate you in some way. And the other things in terms of like food choices, I eat very healthy now. I'm at the weight that I want to be at. I eat very healthy. For a long time I was given dreams of eating junk food because the evil spirits wanted me back on that unhealthy, body destroying and spirit destroying artificial food, so that my mind would be muddled. I would be obese. I would be like an open vessel, participating in gluttony, food as a drug. They wanted me back where I used to be when I was heavily demonically possessed. And probably they would also, I would think, derive some pleasure out of, consuming food vicariously through me. So I used to have dreams where I would be eating like a lot of junk food, and still from time and time again, from time to time, like if I am, say, on the rare occasions where you'll catch me at a restaurant, and if I'm at a restaurant, it's because someone has invited me and I have not said no. But I'm rarely at a restaurant. I don't eat out. I cook my own food, go to the grocery store, or get it from my garden. So not recently, about a month ago, I went out with some people. I didn't eat though. I didn't eat. I just went out with them because they asked me to go out to this, restaurant with them. So I went out and I was able to see what they were eating, but I didn't eat it. I had a dream later on of me consuming something that was on the plate of the person sitting across from me. So that shows you both the adaptability. So it's like the evil beings are seeing what I'm seeing, and they're trying to convince me to consume what these other people are consuming. So that shows you they can see through your eyes. And I don't want to scare you, but they read your thoughts. They can read your thoughts. The other day I was thinking of a past trauma. I was thinking about it because I was trying to, better understand it and incorporate it. I later had a dream about that trauma, almost like they're trying to poke at wounds, so they can read your thoughts, and they can bring up past traumas or things that you're embarrassed about in your past and play them over and over and over again. And at first I thought, well, when this would happen, like in the past, when this would happen, I was like, well, maybe this is the Holy Spirit showing me, this is what you did wrong then, and so trying to encourage me to reconsider it and get better. But then I realized the frequency of it and the fact that I didn't know why it was happening, and so I would write it down over and over again in these variations that they would show it to me. That increased the intensity. So it's like, if you don't catch on to the fact that they are replaying these traumas in order to further traumatize you or to get you stuck thinking that you're that person that you used to be, if you don't realize that that's what they're doing by replaying that in your mind over and over again, they will continue to show you that kind of dream. It's only when you realize what they're doing, meaning they're trying to reshame you by playing you those dreams over and over again in different dreams. They're playing that trauma over and over again, in order to get you stuck in that shame and that guilt and that person that you used to be. So it's like, it wasn't until, and I'm talking about a past incident, it wasn't until I realized what they're doing that particular dream stopped. So they adapted. They realized, okay, she's on to us. She knows that we keep playing this particular, it's not the Holy Spirit, it's us trying to reshame her through replaying this trauma in her mind when she's sleeping. She realizes that's what we're doing, so it stopped. It just stopped. So they adapt to how you react to the spiritual attacks that they put at you. Another food type dream. Now, recently, I had a dream where I wasn't being tempted to eat junk food, but it's like I was tempted to eat like a huge burrito. Like I'm in the dream, I'm in a restaurant, and there's like this huge burrito, and at another table, like this guy's eating this huge, I mean, like larger than normal, huge, like the size of, like larger than the size of a football, like maybe the size of two footballs. He's eating this huge, like soft taco thing with cheese and spinach in it, and I have like this huge burrito in front of me, and I'm being, enticed or tempted to eat it. Here's the problem: I can't eat beans or rice or bread. And this burrito has those three ingredients. Um, I have diabetes in my family, and so I'm very carb sensitive, and I can't eat it all. Like, I don't handle like breads and rice. I don't eat bread. I don't eat rice. I don't eat corn. Like, my system can't handle it because of my genetic predisposition to diabetes. So it's like I have to really control my diet because, that diabetes is in my family. And so I can't eat those kind of foods. So, and even cheese, like I'm also like lactose intolerant, so I don't eat cheese either. But they put the spinach in the cheese huge burrito in order to make it seem healthy. So they're like, okay, if we put spinach with it, maybe she'll see it as healthy. A burrito, like, people don't think of a burrito as being fattening, so it's like they're thinking maybe if we put this burrito in front of her, she'll see it as healthy. So they adapt. They realize the obvious junk food isn't going to work, so we're going to entice her to eat foods that she's allergic to or intolerant to. If I eat bread, if I eat rice, I'll gain weight and I'll become diabetic. So they know they can't get me with the junk food. And so they have adapted to now trying to convince me to eat food that will also kill me, but trying to make it seem like that food is healthy. So that's another subtle way in which. So don't ever think that you can't be fooled, because evil is always adapting to try to find new ways to fool you. And so it also helps us to, how be wise as serpents but harmless as doves. It helps in our wisdom. As evil adapts, we become wiser, and we learn more about the subtlety, but they're always adapting. They're always looking for new ways to fool you. If one way doesn't work, they try another way. They never stop. It doesn't stop. They don't say, okay, well, she outsmarted us, or she figured out this scheme, so that's it. No, they continue, and in order to fool you, they have to choose a more subtle deception. Um, now, recently I asked the Holy Spirit about a certain interaction that I had that I was confused about, because another subtle adaptive way in which evil operates is that it makes you seem as though you're having an effect on the person. Like, if evil knows that the Holy Spirit means for you to help people to become aware of and receive the Holy Spirit, help people to get their lives right and follow Christ. What the Holy Spirit will do is bring to you people who pretend to be changing. Now, before I go into that, I also want to say Alex Jones, who is the clear false truth teller. I mean, he's like the most obvious David Jones, not David Jones, Alex Jones, David Icke, people like that. They're obviously false. Well, maybe not from my perspective, they are. But one comment that Alex Jones made that I remember and that has stuck with me is that he said that the enemy is, you can't defeat the enemy, because every like organization you start, or every cause you get behind, they morph into that cause, they become that cause, they lead that cause. You see what I'm saying? It adapts. Evil beings or evil forces working through people adapt to be whatever it is you are, and then they take it over. So what Alex Jones, he was actually telling on himself, because there's a truth, or like there was a William Cooper. What they did, you neutralize the truth, neutralize a William Cooper, and put in his place an Alex Jones. So when people are looking for the truth, evil forces have already taken over that sector and put themselves in place of that. So they've adapted. They see what people who genuinely are good or genuinely want truth are looking for, and they become it. You see what I'm saying? So that's how they adapt. They adapt. They become what it is you're looking for. They pretend to be what it is you're looking for. I recently asked the Holy Spirit about a person who was going through the motions of being like changing, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm having a positive influence on this person, but I still wanted the Holy Spirit to give me insight on what this person was. That very night, after I'd asked that question, I had a dream. Now, my stove, I have 4 eyes on the top of my stove. One is not working, and it hasn't been working for like a year. So I don't use it anymore. I've tried, I've adjusted it, because sometimes, like, I have that old school type stove, so sometimes you can adjust it a little bit and it'll come back on. This eye, that doesn't work with. Um, so all 3 eyes work except for the fourth one. So no matter how much I wiggle it, I can change eyes. I can put another eye on it, or I can. Um, it's dead. It's just there, but it doesn't work. So I was standing in front of this eye, and this person in the dream gave me a letter written in black ink. It was handwritten in cursive, black ink, and the letter was laminated with clear white, not clear tape. So it was like laminated with tape, like someone took clear tape and put it over the whole document. But they wanted me to correct the document for them. But how can I correct it if you've already laminated over it using strips of clear tape? I can't get to it in order to make any corrections. They gave it to me and walked off, wanted me to correct it and walked off, but it had this laminated clear tape on it to where I couldn't change it. And the word that I wanted to change was soul, and I think I like marked it out. I marked out the word soul, because that was the change that I was trying to make. And I don't know if that was a dream. I don't know if that part of the dream was the devil taunting me, saying that I own this person's soul, or I've deleted this person's soul. They are turned off. Their eye is turned off. They no longer work. They are a shell. I own them. I own their soul. You cannot fix them. Or I don't know. Like, but it just seemed like it was a very haunting dream, because I was in a dark kitchen in front of an eye that does not work. This person gave me this letter to correct, and I can't correct it. I mark out, I put I in quotes, because as you know, as anyone knows who dreams, like, you can take the perspective of other people. Like, you can be outside of yourself in a dream, or be seeing through the eyes of another person. But I marked out the word soul. So that to me was ominous, and it showed me that this person, from my perspective, I could be, more insight could come later on. This person is turned off. They are dead. They're a shell. Their soul has been crossed out, and I can't correct them. So, but the interesting thing was that in the presence of another person who was clearly demonically possessed, who seemed to be, and this is another thing, evil forces can pit each other against each other, or their vessel. They can pit their vessels, the vessels that they use, the empty houses that they use, who don't have the Holy Spirit, the people who are empty, who have lost their souls because they've decided they've slipped into darkness and they're not following the light. They can pit these people against each other in order to create some kind of show for a person who has the Holy Spirit, in order to deceive them. This person was pit against another person. This is what confused me, and this is what made me think that this person was reachable. The evil forces were using both vessels, and they pit them against each other, to where it seemed like they were having some kind of argument. But later on, passingly, the other person said something to evoke in me sympathy for the other person, the person that they were supposed to be against. This person tells me of a past event where this other person, the person who I thought was changeable and I thought was changing, said that basically this person was a victim or something. It's hard to explain, because they were using my memories. So if I were to say it, like, okay, this is what the person said. Okay, the person said, he hit me. Okay, I knew from the cadence of the voice that this person, the person who was being pit against the person who I thought I was helping, I knew that she was mimicking his voice when he was a child and he was hit in daycare. Okay, I knew it. I knew it. They were playing off of my memory. I know the way his voice sounds. And even though I didn't know for sure that he was in this daycare, I just knew from the images that the evil forces gave me, and from her voice. The voice, and you know how words can trigger certain memories or certain ideas. Well, the way she said, he hit me, and the images that the evil forces played, and she just said this out of context. That's how you know an evil spirit was working on her. She had just finished arguing with this person, and out of the blue, she said, he hit me. All she was doing was putting the context in my mind of this person being victimized as a child, being hit by another preschooler. And like I said, it's hard to explain because it's like they're using my own memories. That's the adaptability of it. They use your own memories and your own past experiences. That's why people think dreams are just their own mind, because these evil forces are playing your memories like instruments, like they're pulling out different things to achieve different goals, and they're bringing up and they're accentuating different things about your memory in order to bring about a certain negative action or emotion in you. So they use your own memories. They can read your mind. They can use your memories in order to elicit, in order to make you do certain things or think a certain way. So that had the effect of making me see this person as an eternal victim. Like, oh, I got to care for him. This person is in their late 30s. But I'm thinking, okay, because someone in preschool hit them, okay, they're a victim. They're still a victim. And so that's the power of their adaptability in order to even use people, the very vessels that they've taken over, pitting them against each other in order to have you side with one or the other. You shouldn't side with either one, but it's just like the controlled opposition. Think about controlled opposition, where they pay people like Alex Jones and David Icke, who are really on their side, but pretend to be against them, so that you'll choose one or the other. You'll choose them. You'll choose the David Icke. You'll choose the Alex Jones, and then they can give Alex Jones and David Icke indoctrination to give to you, because you have put your weight behind that horse. You've bet on that horse, and you weren't supposed to choose either one, because David Icke and Alex Jones are paid by the evil forces in order to feed you disinformation and lead you astray. So, like I said, that's another way in which they can play these people like puppets, use one vessel pitted against the other vessel, so that you'll side with one vessel or the other, and they win either way, because either way you side with one demonically possessed individual or the other. And once you side with them, they start filling your head with either things to spiritually injure you, like they'll have this person subtly bring you down, like destroy your confidence, or they'll feed you false information so that you lose your credibility, or they seduce you, or they waste your time. But I just wanted to give the subtlety of these evil forces, and that they're always adapting, and that you should always be on alert and never think that you can't be fooled. Stay on high alert in these troubling times of extreme demonic possession within vessels. So just be vigilant, and never ever think that you have understood evil, because evil is adapting to you. As long as you change, evil will be trying to change in order to find more subtle and clever ways to deceive you.